actually a combination of concrete, stone, and crushed coral from the surrounding site. The Hoffman residence, this one we did not really incorporate too much indigenous materials, but what I wanted to show was actually the spirit of the stone. A lot of the stone that you see here is actually adobe stone taken from the mountain itself. And the nice thing about using local stone from the site is it starts to make the structure blend much easier, and it actually has a nice balance between the architecture and the surrounding environment. Now, the house itself was designed as two separate structures. The first pavilion you see here is a living room, the other pavilion is a dining room, and the entire ground floor underneath is actually the bedroom. Built on the cliff overlooking the ocean, actually set for a very dramatic feel. No? Now, this is actually on a smaller scale, on a 400 square meter lot. This is actually the Hofelenia residence. Now, for the Hofelenia residence, we started to get a little bit more sophisticated in the way we handled rattan. We were choosing, as opposed to the plain rattan, to start incorporating the use of bamboo, reeds, and a more sophisticated weaving. So a bit more challenging, but came out very nice. The use of rattan as well as a solid wood, and the use of abaca, which translated quite nicely. And you can see the way that the ceilings were handled. Furniture in rattan as well to tie it all in. Again, weaving for the carpentry. Stone, which is actually found in the Las Piñas area as well. And not very clear, but again, wood paneling lined in coconut and coconut shells. The outdoor pavilion was actually a nice touch where we had actually the same continuity of the rattan on the ceilings, and this is a combination of rattan and Nara plywood. The only thing that becomes very indigenous here is the tie-in of the furniture and the backdrop, which is actually a coconut inlay. Of course, the accent pieces as well, very traditional Filipino, but it was really more the furniture that tied it all in. This is my father's residence. Again, a modern Bahay Kubo, just by looking at it. Same concept, the house on stilts, all open air. But one item that I wanted to note was actually the capiz windows on top. The capiz windows were actually designed to show a banana leaf pattern. And this is, again, very green in the sense that you allow cool air to come in. There's a central core in the center of the house, and hot air comes out from the windows on top. No? So materials that were used here, again, cocoa inlay. We use a lot of coconut husk wallpapers. And this is actually a combination of the black pen and the mother of pearl. So this is a shot of the veranda. Bamboo weavings for the ceiling treatment. This is again the coconut table, both tabletop and table base, as well as this. And what you see on the panelings here uses all the cocoa inlay, which carries a mother of pearl as well. And that goes as well for the top. And then local basket weavings used as accent pieces. Old aparadors used as well as accent pieces. The master's bedroom as well, very traditional Filipino. This is actually the aparador, but interpreted in a modern sense, which opens up to a private garden. This is actually the music bar, made of coconut tabletop, coconut chairs, and this again using the black pen for the ceiling, which becomes translucent, as architect Villalon mentioned, which actually served as the light for the bar. What you see on the wallpaper here uses coconut husk wallpapers. No? This furniture piece as well, done in bamboo, again to tie it all in, and that's early buji layog. No? The early buji, yeah. Early buji. Okay. This is a private residence in San Juan. And this one was a nice combination of primary materials again, runo, the rattan, and then again, as architect Villalon mentioned, we were playing with kapis, but this time kapis was already a bit more modern, done as a mosaic, no? And now this is how the kapis was actually treated, and it was used as standing light wells to pretty much give the light needed in the room. We did a lot of skylight to bring in natural daylight coming in. Runos again for the ceiling, and then these were all treatments again on a very much more modern, contemporary feel for the general space. The dining table as well, we played with the runo on top, bamboo cabinetries on the side. The same treatment was done here, but this is a combination of abaca and rattan for the ceiling, for the vaulted ceiling, and then cladded rattan columns for the pool area. Now this is a residence in Cebu, and this is just to show you that. Okay. For the dining area, again, cocoa inlay. Again, this time we had a bit more flexibility because the way that inlays were done were already machine cut, and actually a lot more intricate details can be done. A kapis chandelier interpreted, designed, and then the rattan finish as well for the top. Local wood, which is done with nara for the vaulted ceiling. The music room incorporates the same type of ceiling treatment and the same type of chandelier. And then all the furniture actually does the tie-in. And for the general space, this is again traditional Filipino on the top, but what ties in the entire space is again the use of local indigenous furniture. Okay. These are just samples of how we've used indigenous materials, and I'd like to just mention a couple of best practices, what we call best practices for the use of indigenous materials. No? One is materials should not contain hazardous substance. More often than not, we tend to just buy a product because it's actually, it looks good, it feels nice, but sometimes we tend to forget the manner of how the material is made can be quite hazardous. And so we always like to take a step further by trying to find out what type of substances are actually used in manufacturing of a lot of these materials. No? The woods, when we specify woods, should carry FSC certification. If you don't have FSC certification or you don't have certification from Sustainable Forestries, chances are you're buying illegally cut lumber. Use of rapidly renewable materials such as bamboo and cork and reed. These are materials, even coconut, that we tend to favor because there are a lot of local indigenous materials which actually come from endangered species which we would like to shy off away from. No? And of course, the best is if your indigenous materials carries recycled content. And the use of salvage materials for non-structural purposes or a life extension of a material. So sometimes we tend to buy old doors or old furnishings which then get reused and give it a second life. No? And this is actually very important to us as opposed to discarding and throwing away. So in conclusion, all along this talk, I have been explaining to you the what's and the hows of the indigenous materials, but we haven't really talked about the why. The why is a philosophy behind using indigenous materials. It is the reason it exists. For by using indigenous materials to go hand in hand with a Filipino architect and a Filipino design, we allow the cultivation and evolution of